Hello, this is Tola from TerraPaint Productions with another Blender quick tip. And in this quick tip, I'm going to show you how you can drag or apply or have nature-based models in your scene in Blender fairly easily. These are pretty much customizable models, and they're pretty much geared towards like more of a cartoonish kind of look, so to speak, or a painted look, not a PBR-based look, but more of like a painted texture look. And it's by using the terrain asset library add-on, which is not add-on, it's just an asset library, but it's gone by different names like terrain painter, terrain asset library add-on, and so on and so forth. But if you go to the developer's website, it's called the terrain library now, which is fine. And it has a lot to offer when it comes to different kinds of terrain. It has like over 310 plus assets, close to 500 assets that are available to use. And when I first saw this add-on, excuse me, the developer was selling it for around $100, but now it's been dropped down to excuse me, $24, which is great. And that's for the full version that has 310 plus assets for it. And for the light version, which is 40% of the assets, is $16, so that's still not bad. But it offers a lot when it comes to the models. Now, it works in Blender 4.5 down to 3.4, or 3.4 up to 4.5. It renders in Eevee and the cycles, but in most cases, Eevee is your best option to use when it comes to rendering out your scene. But I'll leave a link below the video, this link below the video, so you guys can download yourselves and check it out. But the installation of the asset library in terms of Blender finding the library path is fairly easy. But the thing is, it comes in two folders. The asset library 1 and asset library 2. When you extract these two, it's best to create a new folder, which is what I've done here, and extract all of that into this new folder that you've just created. Both of these come with texture packs. And in order to avoid any issues when it comes to applying or having those textures applied to the models, make sure that they all go into one texture pack. So this is one texture pack, and have it all go into one texture pack. That way the textures will show up on the models. But once you've done all that, let's minimize this. I'm using 4.1 myself for this tutorial. Just go to Edit, Preferences, File Paths, click on that plus sign, and then navigate to where you've downloaded that asset library where you've extracted the new constants to the new folder. Click on that folder, and all you have to do is click on there, right click, copy, left click, Control V the paste, and double click on that, and then click on Add Asset Library. I've already done that myself, so I'm already set to go. And we're going to start off in cycles first. I'm going to click on that, go to cycles, and GPU compute, maximum samples 1 to 8. Change the world from that gray color to a more natural sky blue color. And then I'm going to click on that icon to change my viewport here. And with this cube still highlighted, let's delete this. And we're going to divide our window up. Hover your mouse in the corner, and when it turns the crosshairs, left click and drag to the right or to the left in this case. Let's turn this back to the right shading, and then click on that icon there and go to Asset Browser. From the drop down menu, click on TerraPaint Assets, which is the folder that we've created, I've created, and here you have all these asset packs here, all these models that are in the asset pack library. And it's a lot. You've got Badlands, you've got the desert scenes here. More deserts, that's great. Different kinds of deserts. Keep scrolling down some more. You have the fog shaders 1 and 2. Now these fog elements, these are texture based, they're not volumetric. So I'll show you how to use these. Here you have the forest pack here underneath the fog shader. I have to remember that because I have to remember, because it's such a big library, it's kind of hard to find or access, what you actually need. But here you have forest packs here. You have grasslands. Let's go down some more. Grasslands with snow caps on them. This is just basic grasslands. Scroll down more. Grasslands with dirt around them. So you have all kinds of naturally based models in the scene. You have lava. That's nice. You have rock faces, the brown ones. You have gray ones. You have ones with snow caps on them, so on and so forth. So it's a lot. But we're going to create a scene here, and I'll show you how you can make changes to a lot of these models in here, because for myself, I just felt that it's just drag and drop. That's all it was. You couldn't do much modification to it. But if you go to the developer's website here, look at what they've created just by using this asset pack. I mean, look at this terrain here. This looks great. This looks fantastic, actually. And you can just modify it as much as you like. You know, you're kind of limited to your imagination at this point. You can get as creative as you possibly want to. And because of the fact that the models are like low poly, they don't take a long time to render out at all. You can change the shape of them, as you can see here. You can actually replace the textures in them if you understand the node system for Blend. You can change the textures of these models too. So it's not only using cartoon texture-based textures on the models. You can actually import PBR textures that you can see here into the models themselves to replace the painted textures with PBR textures. So that's phenomenal. So it's got a lot of potential for you as a artist or a landscape artist. You can just go as far as you want to go with it, basically. So this is a really nice add-on for $24. Now, if we go back to our scene here, let's press 1 on our keyboard, and we're going to position our camera to look straight at our scene here. And I'm going to go to View, Align View, Align Active Camera to View, so we can look straight at our scene here. And let's just start dropping in some models here. Let's left click and drag this in. Then we have that. 0 on our keyboard. We have that for our first model in our scene. Let's pull our camera up on the Z-axis, G, Z. Move our camera up. And let's pull in a few more. Let's see. This one looks pretty good. Drag this in. We have that one there. And to scale it, it's a lot of your adjustments when it comes to scaling and all that stuff, you can just do in Blender. Like press S on your keyboard and move your mouse up to make this bigger, or make it smaller, so on and so forth. If we go to the modifier side, we have some levels here when it comes to the subdivision surfaces and so on and so forth. And I guess when it comes to the bump mapping too, but this looks nice the way it is. Scroll down some more. Let's add a few more models in here. Let's click on, let me see. Let's get in some sand, some desert. Left click and drag this in also. And let's pull our camera out a little bit. G, Y on the Y axis. Scroll up. And let's get our sun. Let's get a little bit more sunshine. Click on that light source. Turn to sun. Yellowish color, and put it down to 5. Enter. Click 5 on the keyboard. Enter. And there we go. So we have that. Let's get in one more desert landscape here. This one looks nice. Let's drag this one in. And then we have that. Now we're going to build up our scene a little bit more because I want to show you guys some things that you can do with some of the models in here. I'm going to drag in one more terrain that's kind of tall. Let me drag in the terrain. Let's go with the Badlands again. We're going to put this one towards the back. This one looks good. Back there. Press S on our keyboard to scale this up and pull it back a little bit more on the Y-axis. Go back to our camera view. And let's kind of balance out the scene a little bit so we can have more of a balanced look to it. Now I'm going to go up to the clouds. I'm going to drag in a couple of clouds here. that one in there. S to scale this one up and pull it down. Another cloud here. S to scale this up too. I'm going to put these clouds like in the front of our back face there. And as you can see, it's covering up that back Badlands model. And you can see that, let me pull this over a little bit more on the x-axis and put it down on the z-axis. And then with just a few clicks, we've created a pretty good looking, terrain here. You can do more, obviously, when you sit down and, add more, scenes, more models to your scenes. But this is how quickly you can actually build up a scene here. Now, if we click on this cloud here, as you can see, it's kind of covering up the mountainscape at the back there. If you want to have it not as evident, the cloud as evident as it is, just go to the shader tab. Left click on that. Click on the shader editor. Let's expand this. Scroll this up with our mouse wheel. And here you can look at the opacity. You can turn this down. And when you've done that, it gives it more of like a foggy kind of dense, far-looking scene in terms of the distance of the mountain in the background. Now that's pretty cool, and like I said before, this library doesn't use a lot of rendering power at all. Obviously, the more things you add to it, the longer it'll take to render out. But I mean, for the most part, it does it pretty quick. Let's turn off the outliner here. Turn that off, and it looks pretty nice. So we turn all those back on. Let's go down to the fog. This because I wanted to showcase the fog aspect of it. So as I mentioned before, the fog is not volumetric at all. It's actually a texture. So if we scroll down, we come to the fog pretty soon here before we get to the trees. There we go. You have to go into click on a mountain there, or any of these mountains. Let's use this one, and we have to go to the shader editor again. Click on that shader editor, because this is a node system. When you see this icon beside any thumbnail in Blender, that means it's basically supposed to be used in a node system. And this node system is going to be placed, to zoom in and scroll up on your mouse wheel, it's going to be placed in the middle right here. Let's separate these two. Left click and drag this in here. Then we're going to left click, make sure we select that, and then it's connected to this one. Now if you increase the strength, you'll see what's going to happen to this mountain here. Increase the strength. Let's make it bigger. Is it on the right one? Oh, here we go. The start. You have to change the start of it. Whoa, that's really bright. But if we change the start, let's put this down to 10. Enter. If we change the start, because the start is the front of your model, the end is the back, I'm assuming. So once we kind of reduce this a little bit, now we can see the effect of the fog shader on the mountain. And this is to give it the illumination, or I guess the appearance of this being like in the distance with the clouds and the fog and things like that. That's what this is supposed to do. My preference personally would have been a volumetric shader to encompass all your models at once, because this is gonna, you have to click on each one of these to apply the shader. But yeah, this is how the shader works, which is not bad. Now the last thing I want to showcase is the forest. So I'm going to left click and drag this onto this sand desert area here. And as I said before, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when it comes to some of the textures, when it comes to rendering them out, this happens in cycles. So your best bet is just to go with Eevee. So we're going to go out here, back to our render settings, turn from cycles to Eevee. Give us a second to populate. Sorry about that whistle. And then we have our scene here of our trees there. our forest. So I'm going to press S to scale this down. Ooh, let me pull this over. Scale this down. It was trying to, the models that create the forest over here, so that's why it was kind of it was trying to drag our model over to this side. But we have our forest here. Let's get a better position for this. Go to, oh, whoa, what happened? Let me go to view and frame selected. There we go. And we're going to pull it over to, let's put it over to this this sand area here. Now it's hovering above our sand or our desert there. And all of our settings for manipulating the forest are in the modifier stack over here. And we're going to expand that. If we want our forest pack to be on any of these models of the land, we're going to have it attach itself to this desert here. Just left click on that icon that says target and click on that. And then go up here to wrap method, project, go to nearest vertex, and now it snaps right to the sand there. And we pull it over, it manipulates itself according to the topography, I think that's how to pronounce it, or the curvature of the land, which is pretty nice. So yeah, you can do quite a bit with this asset library. It's not just drag and drop. You can manipulate it as much as you'd like to. You know, get as creative as you want to with the terrain asset library, and it does a great job in terms of just giving you a very, very quick and fast setup when it comes to creating landscapes in Blender. Yeah, and that's today's Blender quick tip. The asset library pack. Yeah, hopefully this was helpful for those of you who have watched. I really appreciate all the views here that you guys have been supporting me with. And like I said before, when it comes to Blender, it's just about us all learning together and trying our best to, you know, be as creative as we can. I know AI is starting to be a bit of an issue, but let's just forget about AI for a second and just focus on being creative on our own. Thanks again for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, adios.